Mr. Bhattacharya, there are very serious concerns about the disintegration of India bloc given the chaos and confusion over the seat sharing arrangements. So what do you want to say?
I think you used too many words: disintegration, chaos, confusion. Okay, bit of delay I can accept, but there is no disintegration, let me tell you. It was a smaller coalition last time in 2020, only 5 parties. So it was a bit more compact, but that was a very last minute just seat sharing arrangement. This time it is more of a political front with more parties in. So like for example the VIP, which is an EBC identity based party. So that's a new party. There are a few other smaller parties. There are also probably the JMM, which is the ruling party in Jharkhand, probably contesting a few seats here. So because of the sort of bigger size of the coalition this time, so it has taken us a bit longer. But I don't think there is any confusion deeper than that. Hopefully by tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow is the last day of the first phase of nomination.
Yeah.
So we have, yesterday we had a series of meetings. So I still don't have all the numbers, but as far as our party is concerned, we are more or less now, we limited our numbers this time because of these new parties to accommodate them. So I don't see any disintegration or any kind of that kind of confusion.
You talked about your party. Your party initially demanded some 45 odd seats. What is the exact number?
Not really. We said that we are ready in terms of our own preparation. We can handle these many seats. But obviously we would have been happy to contest a few more seats from a few more districts compared to 2020. But as I told you, given the size of the coalition now and the demands of various new parties, so we limited our things. So probably we are contesting just a couple of more seats than last time.
Last was 18, so are you...
Last was 19, so I think 20 is the minimum that we are looking at from a couple of more districts.
You have already issued one first list yesterday of...
for erstwhile 19, I think we are contesting at least 18. So that list I think is out, and just new seats we'll just add and have a final list.
Okay. What do you think of the decision of Prashant Kishore of not contesting himself?
I think he understands he's not taking any risk. He understands the situation that this is his first election in Bihar. So he has created a lot of buzz. Because he understands initially, if you look at Prashant Kishore when he started, even a couple of months ago, so he was talking more about, like the BJP does, scaring people about corruption in olden days, talking about Tejashi Yadav's lack of a formal degree. But as the election approached, so he started talking more about Samrat Chaudhary, Ashok Chaudhary, the corruption that haunts this government now, the lack of formal education about Samrat Chaudhary, not even confusion about degree, confusion about age and everything. So I think if you look at his kind of narrative, so there is a clear shift. He's talking more, articulating the anger of the people against this current government today. So, and definitely he also understands that this is a new party, and basically he has picked up candidates here and there. There are a lot of even, I think, disappointment, anger about his own ticket distribution. So probably it's the right decision for him not to risk contesting an election this time.
How big a threat Jan Swaraj is to Mahagathbandhan?
I don't consider it a threat. In democracy you shouldn't consider any party a threat that way, unless a party like BJP, which is a threat to democracy and the constitution. Otherwise, these are all parties which are trying, and democracy is obviously, the more the merrier. I think the more parties, multi-party democracy. So, but Prashant Kishore, of course, it's a new party. Initially, people had a lot of curiosity, and I will probably also say a lot of expectation from this new party that the new party will come up with some kind of a new agenda. But I think as election nears, people see it's a kind of, the more it changes, more it remains the same. The more a party promises, like Prashant Kishore's party, it behaves exactly the same way many of the ruling parties have behaved in the past.
So are you dismissing it as being a big factor in the Bihar political landscape and especially in these elections?
No, of course, I mean, it has a lot of media presence. It is a very resource-rich party. So, and it is going to field 243 candidates. And definitely, depending on the candidates, I think votes will vary according to the candidates. He had contested some 4 by-elections a few months ago, and you find a major difference. In 2 seats, they got around 5,000, which I consider the brand value of this party that time. But in 2 seats, they polled between 15 and 20,000 or something, which is more about local factors and more to do with the candidates. So this time too, I guess, depending upon local factors and depending upon who the candidates are, votes will vary. But the general level of votes for Prashant Kishore's party, I don't consider it to be of a major order.
But is it going to cut into your votes? Mahagathbandhan?
Very, very difficult to say. As I find that people, the farther they are from Bihar, the more kind of probably curious they are. People inside Bihar, for example, migrant workers in Delhi, the kind of people who have been supporting AAP earlier, they probably saw some shadow of AAP in this new party. So they were interested more. But inside Bihar, I didn't really find much interest among the, let's say, the poor, among the farmers. Yes, urban youth, to an extent, definitely there is some kind of interest in this party. So let us see, which way it goes.
No, but you would have done your poll strategy. You would have seen how the impact on the ground, as you said. So do you think it is going to, or it is not? Is it a disruptor in that sense? It is going to cut into your votes, or yes or no?
No, I don't see it cutting into our votes in any significant way.
Yeah. See, in Mahagathbandhan, do you think Laluji's legacy, and not a positive one but a negative one when you talk to people here about, is Jungle Raj? Do you think it's a big hurdle for Mahagathbandhan to overcome, to improve their prospects? Is it his legacy, his presence? Is it a boon or a bane?
No, I don't see it a big hurdle. In 2020, what more has happened? 2020, the RJD performed well. We almost replaced the government then. We almost came to power. So I don't see, and as of now, we have the 20th year of this double engine government, Nitish Kumar government. Bihar has never had it so bad in terms of corruption, in terms of crime, in terms of collapse of governance, in terms of the non-performance of institutions, non-accountability of the government. So I think people, all those people don't have to think about what was happening 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago. Right now, as here and now, people see that this is probably the worst that has been in Bihar in terms of governance, in terms of corruption, and in terms of crime. Development, of course, there are some big ticket events, some big things like, let's say, airport, big terminals, some flyovers, some metro, and all that. But if you look at development in terms of employment, in terms of people's livelihood, their earning, poverty, and all these parameters, there is absolutely no improvement in Bihar.
Earlier you used the word scary for Bihar, the situation. Why did you say? Is it only because of corruption? Is it only, what are your, because scary is a very strong word to use for the situations.
Right in Patna city, in the capital, at 7 o'clock in the morning, you find a group of, like gangs of Basepur kind of thing. If a group of young people just come, enter a hospital and just shoot away a few people and then move away. So there is absolutely no fear. So there is no fear of the administration, of any kind of law, justice, as far as the criminals are concerned. So the impunity, sheer impunity that the criminals enjoy here, they are emboldened. And what you see actually, the real, when you talk about coalition, Gathbandhan, people shouldn't be actually talking about India and NDA. The real coalition that works in Bihar It's the coalition of, let's say, criminal gangs, the police, and the officials. So that is the nexus which is actually dominant in Bihar, and it is a byword for corruption and crime. It's a convergence of corruption and crime. Nitish Kumar actually used to say famously that he will never compromise with three C's: crime, corruption, and communalism. So he has, as I said, he has not only compromised with these three, he is actually serving a cocktail of these three C's in Bihar.
What do you think of Rahul Gandhi's vote chori campaign in Bihar? Do you think it's gonna help Mahagathbandhan? Obviously Congress, but
No, I think the SIR, obviously for Bihar it was a shock. It was suddenly, never before Bihar, or for that matter any other state in India, has had this kind of, some kind of electoral purification exercise. So voter Adhikar Yatra, it helped us awaken the people of Bihar, create an awareness across the country. So, the danger of disenfranchisement that is built into any kind of SIR exercise. And that was very real, the threat of disenfranchisement in Bihar to the order of, let's say, 20 million or even 25 million. That was a very real threat. So I think our campaign succeeded in limiting that scale of disenfranchisement to, let's say, 5 million or something, right? But still, potentially, 1 out of every 10 voters has been disenfranchised in Bihar, which is a big number. 10% is a big number. And people are now more aware of the threat of electoral fraud. So this is a vote chori campaign is about two things. One is disenfranchisement, the other is electoral fraud, which is of course happening in many other states. So I think people are more alert, let's say, but this has certainly not actually diminished the threat of electoral fraud, which is very, because if you look at the electoral roll that we find after the SIR, it is probably more inaccurate than the previous one. So in terms of coverage, in terms of equity, in terms of accuracy, it fares way worse than the previous electoral roll. So definitely there are a lot of fraud has been perpetrated, and even during the election process, we are not sure how free and fair it will be.
but this awareness, will it convert into votes for Mahagathbandhan?
Obviously, if people are, there are two things. One is people are more aware, alert about saving their voting right. And once you know that you have something which is quite a invaluable thing, a voting right, so you also think about using it more wisely to serve your state and serve your interest. So we hope that this has created a dual kind of awareness. One is to save the voters' vote and use that vote as a weapon, as an instrument for change. And by change, I really mean this time a change of government. Because there are many issues, as I say, corruption, then crime, then poverty, unemployment, but all of them crystallize, converge into one single agenda, which is enough of this NDA government. 20 years, enough, long time. So it's high time Bihar had a new government.
Do you think it's going to generate sympathy, or is it going to impact poll prospects?
I don't think people really, people have got so used to it. And the thing is, in those days, back then, even people used to talk about tenders and they used to suspect that there has been something. And now when Adani gets 1,050 acres of land for a funny amount of 1 rupee for 33 years, nobody talks about anything. Nobody talks about what could be the story behind it, what kind of quid pro quo must have been there behind this kind of a thing. So I don't think people are actually bothered about all those cases anymore.